Frans, you've written a interesting piece about what we sort of can expect are going to be the major things that will impact ordinary people's lives over the next year. What is it that we have to look out for?
Many things. Our Daily Friend editor, the written version of the Daily Friend, Michael Morris, asked us last year to come up with the big issues that people need to watch out for in the year and make hard calls on how they're going to play out. And a number of us have been working on this document now for a number of weeks. And it's not completely finished yet, but we hope it will be finished on Sunday when we're going to publish it on the Daily Friend. And the 10 things that we take ourselves through, number one for us was US government debt. And is there a US government debt crisis pending, and what would the implications be for South Africa? And Michael said, you guys need to make hard calls, no fence sitting, on which way you believe it goes, and we are at an answer there, and we develop it a bit further. You'll read it on Sunday. Number two for us was the US equity market, sky high, record high at a very volatile time around the world, and what do we anticipate there? Is there a great global equities pullback waiting in the wings just weeks away, or otherwise not? And the call we made there is no, not at least before November, when the US presidential election plays out. Number three was China and Hong Kong. And the question there is, not just can China get its hands on, can it get a handle on events in Hong Kong, but can it prevent the very well-off East Coast developing into a whole lot of little Hong Kongs, as inspired by the rebellious Hong Kong protesters? And the answer there for us was that in the fullness of time, we think China gets a handle on Hong Kong. Then, of course, there's the question of Brexit. We called this last year, that it would happen successfully. There was one little intervening election that we didn't anticipate would be necessary, but we got that call absolutely right. How will Brexit play out through the year? What will the implications be? We answer that one. Huge, number five, is the US election. Who is going to win? And head on a block, our prediction, Mr. Trump is going to win in November. And if you read us on Sunday, we'll tell you why we think that is going to be the case. Then to our own president, Mr. Ramaphosa, will he survive very much longer? I increasingly think that's unlikely. I think he's vulnerable to being removed, although his adversaries may wait until 2022 to remove him. But evermore to me, I think he is a one-term president. And we explain that case. From him and his party and government and the ANC, we move to the question of the DA and can it maintain its internal cohesion through this year? And last year, we stick with this view. In a note to a bank last year, we said that the sustainability of the DA is something that must still be established. And we will explain some of the reasons for that view on Sunday. Then the question of expropriation without compensation, what will the government do? We think it will proceed exactly as it has said it intends to proceed, although we think within these 12 calendar months to the end of December, it might stop short of actual mass implementation of the seizure of assets. Moody's, our call there is, they are definitely going to downgrade us. I should have done that a while ago, although they might have the decency to wait until after the budget speech in order to make that announcement. And number 10, if you don't think there's enough to worry about, is the question of Eskom. Is there a reform plan for Eskom? Will one be forthcoming? And our answer to that, very briefly, the detail you will read on Sunday, is no. There is no plan. There is no practical solution. And if I read the IRR prediction here, more smoke and mirrors, rabbits to be pulled out of hats, and a government that seeks to create false horizons in an effort to maintain some measure of business and investor confidence.
Well, that's fairly ominous, and you will be able to find that article on thedailyfriend.co.za, I believe, where it will be published in full, and you can read all of our reasoning and predictions and exactly why we're saying what we're saying. a lot of these are pretty important calls. They will affect the sort of economy of South Africa and the globe, and they will affect your life, especially very obviously in the case of Eskom.